Hello and welcome to all of our beautiful listeners out there. We are your favorite certified life coaches, the Manifesting Mamas. I'm Mary Cannon.
And I'm Glennie Rosario. In today's very special episode of Manifesting Mamas, we will be looking at the concept of manifestation from the male perspective.
Our guest today is none other than Phoenix Alma Santos, a seasoned manifester with over 20 years of practice and experience.
Please join us in welcoming Phoenix to the show. We are so excited to share his story with you. After starting out in the graffiti scene, Phoenix refined his artistic skills while dreaming nonstop of a career in art. He has manifested job titles like creative director and art director, and clients like Viacom, Warner Brothers, DC Comics, Paramount Plus, The New Yorker, Mercedes-Benz, and BET.
We cannot wait to bring you Phoenix's valuable insights into manifestation, creativity, and how he has used the power of positive thinking to make his artistic passion such a prominent part of his professional journey.
Plus, we're really looking forward to getting Phoenix's perspective on Ian Lara. He's a stand-up comedian who's Dominican from New York, just like me. I definitely can relate with all his jokes because, like, the stuff he says in his jokes, it reminds me of me growing up with my brothers in New York. So he said a joke about manifesting, and we were like, no, wait a minute, we got to set this straight.
Yes.
But this is the way my kids think. This is the way my brother thinks. Everybody in my family thinks about it. So before we dive in, I would like you to tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I've been manifesting for a long time. And so I've been kind of like having an issue manifesting recently. I've been trying to figure out why things haven't been manifesting as quickly or as intended. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine earlier today. And essentially what it boiled down to was the answer was that, well, perhaps you're not meant to do that advertising stuff anymore. Maybe what is it that you really want to focus on? And I was like, well, I want to focus on, creating comic books, creating toys, films, TV shows, things like that. And my friend's like, why isn't that stuff on your portfolio? And I was like, that's a really great question. So I think something that we talked about before is like preparing your life so that you're ready. So when these things are manifested and come into your life. So even my portfolio was not ready for the kind of career switch and pivot that I wanted to do. And I guess for me, the blockade was this old narrative of like, oh, well, I tried to do music. I didn't do much money with music, but I did advertising and I made money doing that. So it's breaking the narrative of, oh, I can only make money doing advertising.
It's interesting to hear, Phoenix, how you have reconciled this idea of how things are meant to be, especially when faced with challenges or unexpected outcomes.
Yeah, and we trick ourselves often, right? Because now I have a son, I have a 2-year-old son, and before it was different. I could do whatever I want. It didn't matter. But I moved from New York to New Mexico. Now there is no backup plan. There is no person who can save me, or there's no fallback. So whatever I decide to do, I have to do. Like I have to manifest, or then I have to come up with plan B, C, D to Z, right? And so for me, there's this pressure, especially as a male, where it's like, well, if you can't even like provide for your child, that's not a good look. So there's this extra pressure where it's like, all right, well, I'll play it safe and do advertising when it's like that's not really what I want to do.
So you think that your manifestation was not coming true because that's not really what you really, really, really wanted?
Yeah, the universe has been telling me and I've been ignoring it. So it's always this feeling of like you should start your own creative agency. You should focus on the stuff that you really want to do. Like you can make money doing that.
So that's what your intuition was telling you, but you were just keeping it on the safe side.
Never ignore your intuition.
Yeah.
You know what you're supposed to do. You're not doing it. Yeah. Once you change that, it's like, oh, these opportunities open. You're like, I just had to challenge the narrative in my mind.
That's cool. And that's something Glennie and I have coached each other on numerous times because we enjoy coaching each other. Glennie is an amazing coach, by the way.
Yeah.
And, one thing that always seems to come up is this idea of, are you trusting your gut? Are you following your intuition? Or are you letting other people get inside your head?
And sometimes it's confused. Like people can get confused. Like what is my intuition and what is this fear narrative?
So how do you deal, Phoenix, when manifesting isn't, instantaneous? How do you cope with these times when the manifestations you're looking for are taking longer than expected or aren't unfolding as you planned?
I think part of it was kind of like I've been spoiled and I realize that like how I've manifested things before. before. So it's like I went from homeless to earning six figures and doing a cross Euro trip.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of like there's this podcast I was watching, and the guy said that, well, if you were to build a human being and you wanted them to be a patient person, you want to give them things right away, would you? So I think it's more the universe kind of like it takes time.
I guess you get the stuff when you're ready to receive it.
Yeah, and it's there's nothing you can do. It's just like that's how it is. It just kind of be patient. It also builds your resilience, your tenacity, which I think is super important because what happens when that's taken away again? I think it's important that I know no matter what happens or if the opportunity is taken away, I know I can still rebuild from scratch again.
Yeah, you did it before, so you know you could do it again.
What you have to train yourself to do is to be present and to be happy with whatever the situation is. Because then you're always happy.
And that's true happiness. That's something that they teach in Buddhism. The Buddha was just as happy sleeping under a tree as he was in the palace.
Yeah, so 1999 was I remember the year before I started working in advertising. So I was like, first, I guess I need to do an internship. So I went to travel to Tampa, Florida to do an internship, and I was there for about 3 months. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm stuck in Tampa, Florida, from New York, and I don't know how to get back. I don't have any money. So I was just kind of like talking to the universe. This was like the first time where I was like really explaining what I needed. And I was like, I know I never really ask you for anything. Usually I'm just like, I talk to the universe and I say how I'm grateful for what I have. But I was like, I was in a situation where I was like, well, I need help this time. So I just explained what I needed. And I was finally able to go back to New York. And once I came back to New York, I was offered a job. So everything that I had asked for manifested within days.
So I have a question. So when I was trying to manifest this school and going to school and paying for it and everything, I had a whole plan. Like I'm taking action. So I have a plan. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this and that, blah. Okay. So it happened to be that it manifested in a totally different way, not the way that I planned
Yeah. It happens that way a lot. We never plan it. It
it.
just comes out
So,
weird.
so my question is that you don't really take action. You take the action that your intuition tells you. Because with the podcast was different. I manifested this podcast too. In my vision board, I want to do a podcast. I didn't know how, I didn't know when, I didn't know with who. Like every time I would hear an idea, I said, okay, this is a good idea for the podcast. Like I was expecting that it was going to happen.
But those are actions, right? Those are actions you're
So,
taking
so
to
yeah, so
prepare.
that would be the actions that I'm doing, right? It's not
Right.
like my control, like I'm gonna control. This is the way it's gonna happen.
Right.
What happened was I asked you, Glennie, I said, are you planning to do a podcast? And then the idea was born that we would do it together.
And I was like, oh my God, yes. I was like, yes, I do. I want to do one. We came up with the name in like an hour and like did the episode the same night. And like at 9 o'clock at night, we were like, had our first podcast. And I was like, oh my God, I did this. I did. I was like, I didn't do any action. What the action did I do? I was like so excited about it.
Well, I think it depends on how you think about action, right? Because it's the energy, the universe. It's all made of energy, right? So it's like you have to deposit energy to receive the energy. So it's like, well, you took time. You actually were focusing on the podcast. You were taking time of carving time out of your life. Like, oh, this is a good topic for. So you were preparing for it to arrive. I think that's what a lot of times people say in terms of like taking action. It's I don't know if it means running around the block. It doesn't necessarily have to be that, but it could just be taking because if you don't take the time and separating, like, okay, I need to prepare. It's more like I'm depositing my time, my energy to manifest that thing back. Because if you don't deposit that energy, I don't think it manifests sometimes, but I think the larger things is because I actually take time. I set a new schedule. Like I set time to receive the new thing that I need manifested. And I think that's a big part of it. Because a lot of time people just think like, well, I'll pray for it and that's it.
We manifest either whether we believe it or not, we manifesting all the time. Like we do it even if we don't know we're doing it. It's just that you can do it on purpose. You can manifest on purpose, but most people do it and they don't even know they're doing it.
So, speaking of this idea of taking action, I want to go ahead and play this first clip from Ian Lara.
Shout out to Ian Lara. He's really good. He's really good. He's funny.
No, I was
He's
going to ask,
very
is he
funny.
from Washington Heights?
I think he's from Queens.
Because Washington Heights in New York is like Dominican Republic too.
Yep.
It's like
I'm from Brooklyn.
so. Oh, nice.
I'm from Brooklyn. Are you Dominican too?
No, my mom is from Ecuador, and my father's side is from Puerto Rico. But I'm
Oh, okay.
Dominican by Washington Heights. I was born
By
and raised
Washington
there.
Heights. Okay, I was gonna say if he lives in Washington Heights, he gotta be Dominican.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's hear the clip.
Heard about the vision board? If you never heard, let me explain. You're gonna go to a hardware store, you're gonna ask them for a board. You're gonna say for what? You say it's my dreams. They'll understand. You're gonna take the board, you drive it home, you put it on the wall on top of your bed. Now you need to find pictures of people who have achieved the thing you want to achieve. People that worked hard and got after it, you're gonna find photos of them. But don't do what they did, just a photo. That's enough. But you can't use the whole photo because that's stupid. You gotta cut them out. And then you put them on the board, fill up the board with photos. And it's very important. Every night before bed, you look at it. Then you can go to sleep. That's it. Here's the best part. If things don't work out for you, you don't got to be embarrassed. Because if things don't work out, you can always say this. You can always say, it wasn't meant to be. And people understand. It's great.
He's basically saying this idea of manifesting is putting it on a board and not a whole lot of follow-up. But I think that's a huge misconception that manifesting is just wishing and no action at all.
Yeah, and I think that's the misperception that a lot of people have, especially like came across The Secret, the film, and I was like, okay, this is essentially what I've been doing. And a big part of it, how the misperception that people are saying, like, I watched The Secret, but I'm not manifesting anything. So I was like, well, how are you also taking action? Well, oh, well, they never talked about that in The Secret. And I'm just like, well, I've been doing it for a while. So it's just kind of like if you're gonna get a couch delivered to your house, you have to make a room in your living room to put the couch, right? So you can't just leave things the way they are and expect, or like, let's say if you have a date, an awesome date that's coming over and your house is dirty, do you expect that to go well? Or should you clean the house very well before your date comes, right? So there's
Oh
certain
man,
things,
that makes
it's
sense.
preparing.
But that's where my when my thing come. Do all men think this way? Because my kids think this way. My brothers think this way. It seems like this is like a man thing because I don't think this way.
In terms of like preparing,
No, in terms of manifesting and the vision board and all that stuff.
no, I think it's looked down upon. It's like it's looked at like as very feminine. Like let's say,
So, were you ever like that? That thought that the manifestation wasn't true, or or you always knew since you were small that this could happen?
so my mother used to do this thing where she would write to her angel like in a book, right? And then she like always tell me about it. I'm like, yeah, 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 whatever, right? And then I was young, I don't know. So like, let's say one time like she was short on a bill or something, and I was too young to start to work and help her. She was like, she wrote to the angel, the lights are gonna get cut off. I need $250. I don't know where to get it from. And at this point, she's disabled. She
Hmm.
passed away because she had was it end-term liver disease. So she couldn't work. And then she asked the angel, I need help, whatever. And then like maybe the next day, someone close to you will give you the money. And then my uncle Raphael, I think it was, gave my mom the $250 to pay the bill. So I'm like, all right.
So yeah, so her angels were like the universe for her.
And an angel, I don't know. I have a different thought about what angels are, but I was like, Mom, you see, it's not an angel. It's actually God talking to you. So since then, I was just kind of maybe we do have the ability to kind of tap into something otherworldly if we just are open to it. So since I was young, yeah, I think if I didn't have that experience, it would be different.
Okay,
Yeah.
so speaking of this whole idea of manifesting being maybe a more feminine concept, I want to play this second clip from Ian Lara and see what you think, Phoenix. Here we go.
Sure.
Heard about this? Manifesting? Yeah, women, they love it.
Okay.
For the men, if you never heard about it, it's this new thing you could do with all your hopes and dreams. Remember back in the day when if you wanted something, you used to have to work to get it? Remember that? That's completely outdated. You no longer have to do that. They've created this new thing. It's called manifested. And the best part about it is you don't actually have to do anything. You just yell it out in public. That's it. That's how I got here. I just yelled it out on the train. I want to be on the Tonight Show. And now I'm here.
He did it unintentionally. I'm not gonna lie, I did all that. I went outside in the New Year's when I was trying to manifest my life coaching school. I asked for it outside and I screamed it out loud. Yeah, I did that, but I still
Yeah.
did
Yeah,
work
but
too.
like, what is the deal though with this whole perception of manifesting being a woman thing? I think we've all kind of encountered that stereotypes, and I'm curious, Phoenix, as a male manifester, how do you challenge or navigate these perceptions?
Yeah, that's the thing where it's always I've always been kind of like the black sheep because I've always challenged like the status quo where like my parents are like, well, you got to get a real job. And I was like, well, I've been working in design for like over 20 years. This is a real job. So for them, it's like because it's creative, it's not a real thing. But it's I think the status quo is kind of like if you're a man, you have to work a job, a hard laborious job, whether it's like carpentry, construction, plumbing, whatever. You have to work for everything that you have. Like you never ask for anything. Like it's especially like in the Spanish community where it's like you just work hard. You don't ask for anything, even though you're
Hmm.
dying and
Yep.
you're hungry. You don't ask for anyone to help you. For women,
Mhm.
it's like it's been okay because no one's ever told them no, you can't do that. For men, we're always told them no, you don't ask for help. You work hard and you make it happen.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense
Right.
to me because actually something I noticed in this clip is Ian's laughing when he mentions the idea of hopes and dreams. And at first I was like, "Oh my gosh, are people just
Right.
so cynical that they laugh at anyone who
Mm.
dreams about the things they
Yeah.
want?" But then it occurred to me
Yeah, well,
it's like a
Yeah. It's like
masculinity thing maybe. Like I'm
that's what I mean that I think I grew up with this guy because this is my whole family. They kill you hopes and dreams.
so is it like it feels too vulnerable as a man to admit wanting something? Do you think a lot of men feel
people in
this
my
way?
family consistently like over ignoring their dream just so they can like work a job that they hate because that's real.
That's I think
That's
it's a
reality.
cultural thing
Yeah, it's a
because that's what they
cultural
teach us.
thing.
Yeah, they teach us you don't dream, you go work, get the money to survive. This is what I was taught when I was growing up. There's no dreaming going on. You need to go to work, get a job, get money, and pay bills. That's what I was taught.
Because if you look at like let's say the percentage of creative people who are earning money, like doing well, it's like what 10% of the populace, maybe.
Five.
It's a very small percentage. It's like well, objectively, yes, they're correct. It's a very low chance. But if you don't try, then who's gonna fill in that
Yeah.
percentage?
And it kind of reminds me of this concept of manifesting as being the idea of seeing your life as a blank canvas.
Right.
So, being an artist, Phoenix, does that make sense to you? Like your life is a blank canvas and you are the painter of your own masterpiece?
Yeah, it's like painting, sculpting, writing, like any creative force. Because you're imagining and you're sculpting the vision in your mind, right? To the point where it's like I'm smiling because I'm
Hmm.
happy that this is gonna manifest. I know it's gonna. I don't know when or how, but it will, and
But you
eventually it
know it's
will.
gonna happen.
Well, I've recently started doing lucid dreaming. So like let's say if you're in your dream, acknowledging you're in the dream, and just even before I go to sleep, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be in like a forest or like the like tall blades of grass, and I'm gonna be flying over
Mm.
the blades of grass. And you just keep thinking about this before you fall asleep. Then you're in the dream, you acknowledge you're in the dream, and you're able to like manifest things within the dream. So I got to a point where like I could like build mountains or like build like skyscrapers and like houses and cars, just like whatever I wanted, just like massive amounts of clay and just start sculpting it. Where it's like I'm just doing it mentally. Where it's like,
That's
Interesting.
oh, if I'm
crazy.
here and I can do
I'm
anything,
gonna check it out.
well, let me try it. Let me test this out.
So that's like almost like imagination. Like you have to imagine what you want, like because you already join it in your mind. So it's the same as
Right.
sitting there imagining what you dream coming true, like feeling like it's already happening.
Yeah.
So you're doing all that. I'm gonna check it out.
To not only manifest when you're conscious, but if you can manifest while you're dreaming, that's even better. It helps because your brain, your subconscious and your conscious are both working at the same time together to bring forth something.
And I was listening to what is his name? He talks a lot about the mind when you're sleeping and how the subconscious opens up when you are falling asleep or when you just waking up. Joe Dispenza.
Oh, that was the thing that I wanted to say about the comedian when he was saying, the vision board. So the all the vision board is, it's a reminder, right? And because a lot of people are visual, so you have this visual reminder of what it is you want to do, because it's so easy for us to fall off track. So I do this thing called road mapping, or I just call it something different, like the golden path. So I literally like sit down. I do this every few months to kind of like assess what I've been doing in life, and like, is this beneficial? Has it been working? Let me get rid of what's not working. Let me continue to do what's working. So all the steps you have to do to get to the place where you want to manifest.
So that's the action you take. You taking action then.
Yeah, like literally
Hmm.
planning, like carving time out of your day to do it. Because when all you really have to do is just schedule it the same way you schedule something for work, or you have a meeting. Oh, I can't miss this meeting, it's for work. You have to have that same mentality for your personal life, where it's like, I can't miss this personal meeting, is really
Exactly. You
important.
got to take time for yourself. You have to know, like, the bottom line is you
Yeah,
have to go within you. Like, you have to take, because you ask yourself a lot of questions, like, what do I want? What do I have to do? You said the schedule,
right.
you said that. So you have to sit down with yourself to do these kind of things. And a lot of people
Yeah,
don't do that.
literally like turn off everything. A lot of people don't do that. No, they just stare
Mhm.
at their phones all the time, and I'm guilty of it too. Like, I'm doom scrolling on social media, just looking, and it's like I'm wasting my time. So I literally just like turn off everything. I'll turn off all my devices. I'll turn off my phone, and then I'll just sit. And then in the quiet, all this noise starts to come. You're like, oh, I'm worried about this thing, and how am I going to manifest this thing? And then you're slowly filtering things out, where it's kind of like, it's been explained many
Mhm.
times to me, where it's like
Oh, yeah.
every thought is like a cloud, and you're just the viewer. You're not a participant. You're just viewing all the clouds. You're letting it pass by, and all you're doing is you're viewing. You're not interacting with it. And then you start to think, it's like, okay, well, now that it's quieter, you're like, okay, well, there's this thing that I'm frustrated about. What can I do to change it? What's something different I can do? Can I do this in a better method? And then after that session, I sit down with a piece of paper and a pen, and I start to write. If you're not grateful for what you have, it's like one of these things where it's like, well, why would the universe keep giving you more if you're not grateful for the things you have already?
Yeah, and if we treat people nice, people are gonna treat us nice. If we treat people with respect, people gonna. I mean, we're gonna get what we give.
Yeah, it's like the golden rule. Don't do unto others as you wouldn't want done unto you.
And this is what I mean. It's like a
So it's like,
society
okay,
thing. It's like a cultural thing that if men believe in this kind of stuff, they weak.
yeah,
And probably that's the reason why.
right. Yeah, that's why I always think, I look at people who are like, let's say something bad happens in their lives, and they're like, they get really nasty and mean to other people, and I don't think that's fair. I'm like, that person had nothing to do with that situation. So even though I'm going through something, I always treat other people well and with kindness, because I know that everybody is dealing with a
Yeah,
hardship.
and people don't go around being mean to other people unless they feel it inside. Like if you're happy with your life and you positive and you feel, you don't go around being mean to other people.
Yeah, and a lot of people keep things bottled up inside. It's almost like there's this expectation that we all need to be happy, shiny people all the time with no problems. And I think the more open we are about the things that we have going on, the more free others will feel to share what they have going on too.
Right.
And I think we'll all benefit from more openness and authenticity.
I would say that there is a challenge. Like, if you, I don't know if you like seen some of my Facebook posts where I'm like, I'm very honest and open, even though things are not working out well. I still try to see the positive part of it, but I'm still talking about, like, I am frustrated with the situation or whatever. And I'll have, female friends of mine who's like, stop bitching, stop, being that way. And you look weak doing that.
Oh,
So
come
it's
on.
like,
Well, that's
my intent, my intention is to help people, because it's to say, you can go through adversity and still be positive.
Like for me, I had to change my whole way of thinking. Everything that I knew, I had to change it. I had to do so many like affirmations, read so many books because my beliefs were really like cultural and very deep in there. And once you learn, you protect your energy, everything. Like you protect it because it's like you know what you've been through to get here.
So for me, I think that's like what's another big part of it is curating the people around you, curating the things that you watch, the music that you listen to, right? So it's like all of that affects you, the food that you eat. So I think all of that it contributes to how how you walk within the world.
So, Phoenix, thank you for joining us today. You've had a lot of really amazing insights that I know our audience is going to love. And we understand you are here promoting your book and some other projects. So, can you tell us a bit about what you have going on?
So I can't talk about the book too much. We're still looking for a publisher, but for right now, I have my website, which is phoenixsantos.com, PhoenixSantos.com. Then you can also follow me on Instagram, which is Art of Santos, ARTOFSANTOS, and I have some music that I do as well, which is also on Instagram, SAY WHATBEATS.
Hey, beautiful souls, it's Glennie and Mary here, you certified life coaches.
As 2023 comes to a close, we're doing something we never do, offering free 15-minute mini coaching sessions to make your 2024 your best year yet.
These quick focus sessions are all about results, whether you are dealing with a hurdle or aiming for a big win. We're here to guide you through whatever you got.
And we do not want you to miss the revelations that are waiting for you in your free session. Reach out to us right now at lifecoachglennie.com and marycannon.co.
So grab your spot now and let the breakthrough begin.